Hello, and welcome back to English Active Listening. It's Alyssa here, and I'm so deeply grateful that you've made the time to join me today for what I believe will be the most important part of your entire English journey. I know that for so many of you, the fast pace of English can feel overwhelming, a rushing river of sound where the words just slip away before you can even catch them. But what if I told you that the secret to understanding that fast river isn't to try to keep up with it, but to simply slow it down? I know this sounds a little strange, a little backwards, but think of it like this. An Olympic athlete doesn't just train at full speed. They spend countless hours practicing each movement in slow motion. They analyze their form. They correct their posture. They build muscle memory. And only after they've mastered every single detail slowly can they perform with incredible speed and confidence. This is exactly what we are going to do today. We are going to use the power of slow listening as our secret weapon to build a foundation so strong that when you're ready to listen at full speed, you will not only hear the words, you will truly understand them. This is our masterclass, our ultimate unabridged guide to unlocking your English fluency. And I'm so glad we're taking this journey together. So, before we dive into the practical how, I want to spend some time explaining the science behind why this works so well. Your brain is a brilliant and efficient machine, but it has its limits. And when you listen to a fast conversation, your brain is trying to do too much, too fast. It's trying to connect a sound to a word, understand the meaning of that word, and put all the words together to get the full picture, all at the same time. This is what we call a high cognitive load. And when that load gets too heavy, your brain gets overwhelmed. It can't keep up. And that's when you feel that panic. That's when everything sounds like one long, blurry word. But when you listen to slow English, you reduce that cognitive load. You give your brain the time it needs to do its job properly. You're not just hearing a stream of sounds. You're hearing individual notes. You're giving your brain the chance to build a strong, solid connection between the sound you hear and the word you know. It's like building a road. When you drive a car too fast, you don't notice the potholes. You don't notice the trees on the side of the road. But when you drive slowly, you can take in all the details. You can build a more complete mental map. Slow listening is the process of building those mental roads, those neural pathways that allow for faster, more confident understanding later. This is the deep work of learning a language. It is not about speed. It is about quality. And what's so amazing is that fast speech hides so much of the beautiful and essential detail of the English language. It hides the small but important differences between words. It hides the quiet little sounds that make up so much of our rhythm. But when you listen slowly, you start to hear these things. You start to hear the intricate details that fluent speakers pick up on unconsciously. Let's talk about those details. Let's talk about the great vowel divide. Have you ever confused two words that sound very similar but have completely different meanings? Words like sheep and ship, or live and leave. The difference is tiny, just the length of a vowel sound. The short I in ship is a quick, crisp sound. It's pronounced from the front of your mouth, the tip of your tongue slightly lowered. The long I in sheep is a long, held-out sound. Your mouth is stretched in a slight smile, and the sound is held for longer. To train your ear for this, find a list of these minimal pairs and listen to them again and again. Listen for the length of the vowel, for the shape of the mouth. You are literally retraining your auditory system to pay attention to these small but crucial details. But it's not just vowels, it's consonants too. The difference between the AR and L sound, the B and V sound. A slow pace gives you the time to hear the subtle way our mouths and tongues move to create these sounds. You can finally hear the clear distinction between rice and lice, or between boat and vote, a difference that is often blurred and lost in fast conversation. And what's even more powerful is that a slow pace allows you to hear the grammar in the sound. Fast speech often makes it impossible to hear the small grammatical cues that change the meaning of a sentence. For example, in a fast sentence, you might miss these at the end of a verb that signals the third person singular, or you might miss the D at the end of a verb that signals the past tense. But in slow listening, you can hear these things. You can hear the difference between he walked to the store and he walks to the store, or between I like the movie and I liked the movie. Listening for these small grammatical signposts is a powerful way to understand the full structure of the language, rather than just a collection of words. So now that we understand the why, let's talk about the how. I want to give you a simple, powerful 4-pass method that you can use with any piece of audio, any video, or any podcast. All you need is a piece of audio that you can control, something you can pause and rewind. This is your language laboratory, and you are in complete control. The first pass is the passive, no-pressure listen. Find a piece of audio that is maybe 3 to 5 minutes long and set the speed to a slower setting, maybe 0.75x or even 0.5x, and just listen. Don't try to understand every single word. Don't try to take notes. Just let the sounds wash over you. Listen for the main idea. Listen for the emotion in the speaker's voice. Is it a man or a woman? Is the story happy or sad? This first pass is about taking the pressure off. It's about preparing your brain for what is to come. It's about getting the big picture before you dive into the details. This pass is so important because it helps to reduce your anxiety. It proves to your brain that this is not a test. This is a journey of discovery. The second pass is the active detective listen. I call this guided dictation. Now listen again to that same piece of audio at the same slow speed. But this time, you are a detective. You are a curious learner. You can have a transcript with you, and you can pause and rewind as much as you need. Your goal in this pass is to connect the sound to the word. When you hear a word you know, look at the transcript and see how it's spelled. When you hear a word that you don't know, look at the transcript and see what it is. This is where you are building those strong neural pathways we talked about. You are building a direct bridge from your ear to your eyes. If you don't have a transcript, you can also do this with a pen and paper. Just write down the words you hear. This is a powerful technique called dictation. Even if you don't know what the words mean, you are connecting the sound to a physical action, and that is incredibly powerful for your memory. You can also use this pass to keep a phonetic diary, a little notebook where you write down words you heard and the exact sounds that were difficult for you. For example, you might write down ship, and then next to it, You might write down the sound you heard. This helps you to become more aware of the individual sounds that make up the language. The third pass is the deep analysis listen. I call this microanalysis. This is where the real magic happens. Listen to the audio again, still at the same slow speed. But this time, you are a language scientist. Your job is to analyze the details. Pause after every sentence, and look for all the things we've talked about. Look for the schwa sound, where a word is reduced, and say it out loud. Look for the linking and elision, where words run together, like tell him becoming tell him. Look for the contractions, like would've versus could've, and see how they are pronounced. Look at the grammar of the sentence. Why is the verb in that form? Why is the preposition used there? Look up any new vocabulary and write it down in a notebook, along with the entire sentence you heard it in. This is the hard work. This is the work that your brain needs to do to build deep, lasting understanding. You are taking the language apart and putting it back together again. And in doing so, you are making it your own. You can even use a technique called intonation mapping, where you draw a small line above the words to show the rise and fall of the voice. This helps you to become more aware of the musicality of English. The fourth and final pass is the full speed listen. I call this progressive speeding. Now for the reward, listen to the same piece of audio. But this time, listen to it at its normal, full speed. Because your brain has already done all the hard work. It has already built the roads. It has already analyzed the sounds. And it has already understood the meaning. The fast version will sound so much clearer. It won't sound like a blurry, rushing river of sound anymore. It will sound like something you can actually grasp. Something you can hold on to. To make this even more effective, you can use a technique called progressive speeding. Listen at 0.75x first, then 0.9x, and finally at 1.0x. This gradual increase in speed helps your brain to adapt and build a tolerance for faster speech. So now you know how to use slow listening to master comprehension. But the ultimate goal of listening is to be able to speak, to be able to connect with people. And the beauty of this slow listening practice is that it is also a powerful tool for your speaking fluency. It's the bridge that takes you from understanding to speaking. We've talked about shadowing before. But now you're going to use a new technique, slow shadowing. Take that same piece of audio that you've been working with and listen to it at a slow speed. And just try to copy the speaker's voice, not just their words, but their rhythm, their intonation, their tone. You're not worrying about speed. You're worrying about accuracy. You're training your mouth to make the same sounds, to move in the same way, to produce the same rhythm. To take this even further, you can use a technique called contextual shadowing. As you shadow the speaker, you imagine yourself in their shoes. You imagine the situation they are in, the emotion they are feeling. This is a powerful way to not only practice the sounds of the language, but to practice the meaning, the feeling, and the intention behind the words. The more you practice this, the more natural and fluent your own speaking will become. And during your deep analysis, listen. You wrote down new vocabulary, but I want you to start a new kind of notebook, a phrasal notebook. In this notebook, you will not just write down a new word. You will write down a new phrase, or a whole sentence, And you will write down where you heard it and what it means. You've got a point there. I'm not so sure about that. It's great to see you. You are building a personal library of ready-made phrases. Phrases that you can pull out and use in a conversation. To make this even more powerful, you can organize your notebook by topic. A section for work phrases, a section for social phrases, a section for travel phrases. This is a huge step toward fluency because it takes all the pressure off of having to come up with a new sentence from scratch. You are simply using a phrase that you have already collected and practiced. And one of the biggest obstacles to speaking is anxiety. That feeling that you have to speak fast to sound fluent. I want to give you a simple, powerful trick to get rid of that feeling. I call it the 3-breath rule. When you are about to speak, just take a deep breath, fill your lungs with air, and then speak the phrase on a steady exhale. If you feel yourself getting anxious, just take another deep breath. This simple act of focusing on your breath helps to calm your nervous system, and it forces you to slow down, which is a much more natural and confident way to speak. Remember, a confident speaker is not a fast speaker. A confident speaker is a clear speaker. Now, even with all these tools, you'll still have moments of frustration. That's normal. The key is to know how to solve them. If you get bored with the slow speed, the solution is to make your practice more engaging. Find audio that you are genuinely interested in. A podcast about your favorite hobby, a video about a topic you love. If you are enjoying the content, the speed won't matter as much. You can also vary your practice. One day you can do a deep analysis. Another day you can just listen passively. Variety is key to staying motivated. And if you're still not hearing the differences between sounds, the solution is to use a technique called exaggerated listening. When you hear a word that is difficult for you, try to exaggerate the sound in your mind. For example, if you're having trouble with ship versus sheep, really focus on making the I sound in your head as long as possible when you hear sheep. This helps to train your ear to hear the difference. And if you feel like you're going backward, the solution is to look for the small wins. Don't focus on where you want to be. Focus on where you are right now. Did you understand one more word today than you did yesterday? Did you finally hear the difference between ship and sheep? Celebrate those small victories, because they are the building blocks of your fluency. So there it is. I know this is a lot of information, but think of it as your new, detailed guide to an entirely new world. You are no longer a passive listener. You are an active participant, a language scientist, a sound detective. The fear of fast English is real, but you now have a plan, a path, a proven method to conquer that fear. The journey to fluency is not a race, it's a marathon. And the secret to winning a marathon is to find a slow, steady, and sustainable pace. So I want you to start your new journey today. Find a short piece of audio, slow it down, and try just the first pass. Just the passive listen. No pressure, no stress, and just start. The most important step is always the first one, and with every day. With every time you listen with intention, with every time you slow down, you are not just getting better at English. You are becoming a more confident, more connected version of yourself. And that is the most important journey of all. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm Alyssa, and this has been English Active Listening. I can't wait to hear about all the wonderful things you understand.